And let's stay out and about and celebrate, because who doesn't love a birthday party, even if it's 2 years late, particularly when it's your 150th, because that's how old Barrow Hill Roundhouse near Chesterfield is. Delayed by COVID, they're finally having a bit of a do for the next 3 days. And here's a man, there you can see him, grabbing hold of life's opportunities. Phil, I bet you're loving this.
Indeed so, Lakshmi, yes. Roundhouses were all the rage back in the height of the Industrial Revolution. This one was no exception, employing hundreds of local people, every occupation from shed sweepers to storekeepers, people starting their careers on the railway at the age of 15 and working through until they retired much later, spending an entire life on the railway. The pride of the Midland Railway, Staveley Shed, a hive of noise, grime, smoke and steam. That was 1870 and this is 2022. It became Barrow Hill under British Railways in 1948. Today it survives as the only operational roundhouse in the UK. Dave Darwin came to work here as a 15-year-old in 1955.
You could cut the air with a knife, with the smoke and the steam, but the sounds were sounds you'd never forget, the sounds of engines crackling and people banging about and the table engines running over the table and the bump and the bang and the doors closing, bang, crash, all noises and people shouting.
The depot was built to service locomotives carrying goods to and from the nearby Staveley Coal and Iron Company. It faced demolition in the early 90s, but campaigners successfully stopped the bulldozers from moving in.
It was an older depot, obviously, so they were looking at me moving into newer premises like workshop, and so they no longer needed it. And then I started a campaign in 1989 to save it when they were due to close and leave. And I managed to get the local borough council to save it with 24 hours to go in February 1991.
The Roundhouse once employed hundreds of local people. Open days for families were held in the 70s and 80s, something this weekend's celebrations hope to recreate.
Back in those times when British Rail still owned the Roundhouse, they would come and they would open up the doors, and the local population, all the family and friends and workers and rail enthusiasts from near and far would come in and they'd have a look around all the locos.
The birthday party may have been delayed a couple of years by the pandemic, but 150 years on, the Roundhouse is not simply a part of the railway's past. It's also a part of its future too. Well, the beauty of Barrow Hill is you can actually get your hands on the kit. This is the signal box, which dates from the 1880s. Now, it's been 5 years since the last gala, and rail enthusiasts, including myself, will be hoping it's not another 5 years before the next one comes along. But it's a day of celebrations, indeed, this whole weekend, 150 years old.
Phil, thank you. Yes, our rail fan Phil, very much in his element.